Are your techniques for easing suffering and sort of cultivating that happy, controlled state of mind unique to you, or do they still have the universal application?
Oh, I mean, yes. If they didn't have universal application, it's totally useless. Yes. Yeah. And the point is that basic emotions are common to all human beings. So that's quite clear. So in that case, Buddhism is a science of mind, it's a science of emotion in a way. And so the Dalai Lama distinguishes Buddhist science from Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist practice, or Buddhist religion, he says. Buddhist science is investigation of reality, which is same related to all of us, especially reality of mind, emotions. So the Buddhist doesn't have different emotion than anyone, that agnostic or Christian or anyone we have those. So now because it took interest in those and developed some methods of first investigating those and then dealing with the destructive ones and finding antidotes and how you can cultivate antidotes, not just saying, oh, this is anger is bad or whatever, but which kind of anger? It is rightful indignation, or is it a malevolent anger? And then if so, how can you counteract that? This is science, the science of mind. At least this is what psychology is supposed to be about. So it is clear that Buddhism has emphasized the notion of knowing how mind functions, dealing with emotions and all this incredible sophistication. 84 different kinds of mental factors, how you deal with those and all that. You don't really find that taxonomy and this strong endeavor of investigating the mind, how it works, how you can use antidotes, what kind of antidotes, different kinds of antidotes. So that doesn't mean a superiority, but it is a specialty anyway. So in a sense, that's why naturally it comes easily in dialogue and even collaboration with psychology and neuroscience and all that, because it's what it's been doing for centuries. So I was comforted myself in those discussions in the Mind and Life Institute. We had one on investigating the mind at MIT at Boston in 2003, I think. And then Stephen Koslin, who's now the chair of the psychology department. And so we were paired, one Buddhist contemplative with one scientist for different sessions for 3 days. And I was paired with Stephen Koslin, became a good friend. And he said, at the beginning of his speech, and he's quite a intense and confident scientist, he said, I must begin by a declaration of humility in the face of the amount of experimental data that the Buddhist contemplative are bringing in the field of psychology, experiential, pragmatical data. So I think in that sense it is universal, because if something proved to be a correct understanding of the way the mind works, and then efficient antidote for those aspects which are detrimental to well-being, then it has to be universal. Then the Buddhist contemplative practice and techniques might be more specific, some of them, but those who deal with emotion and how the mind works, we all have the mind, and if something works, it works for everyone. If it doesn't work, it works for no one, including the Buddhist. So the test is, what does it do?
Are you most happy when you're meditating, and if so, are people who meditate happy?
Well, meditation can be a challenge, because sometimes it's boring, sometimes there are obstacles, but basically it's like a beautiful journey, so there are ups and downs, but there's a kind of satisfaction of doing the journey itself, even there's ups and downs, because you have a goal, a sense of direction. So yes, the goal is about better well-being, and also you find satisfaction in the process. So the process itself is also satisfactory, because you are engaged. It's like when you do hiking or trekking, there's a distant goal, which is to go to a lake or to some mountain, but even on the path is quite enjoyable, or you might have ups and downs, but still the act of training, like meditation, has some kind of fulfillment, and it leads to a goal that itself is even more fulfilling.
How did these techniques actually work, like meditating? Did they work? Did they actually work?
Yes, well, I think there's two ways you can see that. First, through your own experience. Of course, if you meditate for years, and at the end you're still as grumpy and unhappy and so forth, then there's something wrong, and so it's a waste of time as well. But some people might get discouraged. Maybe we could say that possibly not fits to everyone. It's quite constant. I mean, naturally people drop out and they say, oh, that's not my stuff. But it seems that those who have some kind of affinity for it, they do find benefit. But altogether, it seems that over time, it brings some kind of progress towards better well-being. So that's subjective experience. But then now there's all this study in psychology and with neuroscience that shows that yes, it does change your brain. It changes your brain the way on the functional level and sometimes even on the structural level. I mean, there are permanent enhancement of some areas of the brain. And then there are, for shorter term of meditation, like 8 weeks, 30 minutes a day, already shows physiological changes. Immune system, decreased stress response, like the cortisol in the saliva, a decreased tendency to inflammatory response, which is sort of dysfunctional and unhealthy, much less after a few weeks of meditation, increase of prosocial behavior, decrease in the area of the brain that has to do with aggressivity. So all that already clearly shown within a few weeks. So it may not be very stable, may not be very big, but it's already clearly there and different from those who did some other control techniques.